mind. You had this smile that could light up the world. Now when it rains,
told flying and in daylight. I think we flew 7 hours over Iran, and that's a long time, over unbelievably hostile territory where they have nothing but weapons. We took out their anti-aircraft, which is great. We took out their radar, which is great. We took out a lot, but they still have, what hit this one was a handheld shoulder missile, heat-seeking missile. So it's not like, they're totally whatever. And they had probably a little luck, because you got to get lucky. But they shot it, and it got sucked in right by the engine. But these guys were out of there. They were great. Their timing was great. But no, I was told that this is a very dangerous mission. I understand. They didn't say it's a foolish mission. They said, we're going to be sacrificing hundreds of people do this. You have tankers that are flying over this area so that because the flight was so long, they had to refuel. It's a very dangerous mission. I just felt it was worth it. If you would have told me that we would have been successful, gotten both, and nobody was even essentially injured, I would have said that would be impossible. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I'll come back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Given that you are now dealing, you say, with a more reasonable, less extreme leadership in Iran, what does that mean for the protesters, for the human rights movement in that country after this conflict?
Well,
What's your
positive.
expectation?
Yeah, if they assume control, if we do something and they assume control, I think it's very positive, a big step. I don't think you'd see the radicalization that you have seen in the last. Look what happened. Women are being executed because they're not properly clothed, they say. They're not properly clothed, and they execute the women. They shoot them right on the street. No, you have a much different group of people. Now, I'm not saying we are dealing with them. Essentially, they have till 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Eastern time. But we are dealing with them. I think it's going well. Mr. Witkoff is here, and JD's involved in the dealing. Mr. Witkoff is sitting right here, and I think it's going fine, but we'll have to see. You have to understand, we've been dealing with these people for 47 years. I'm standing here with a much more powerful Iran as of a month ago, not anymore. Right now, they are decapitated. But I'm standing here a month ago with a much more powerful Iran than it was at any point during 47 years. This should have been handled by 7 presidents, a lot of presidents. And those presidents are saying now, every one of them to their friends, we should have done this a long time ago. So it's not something I like doing. It's very dangerous, and we're getting them at the height of their strength. If I didn't terminate the Barack Hussein Obama Iran nuclear deal, they would have had don't forget, that was a path to a nuclear weapon. Remember this. He chose Iran over Israel, pure and simple. How Israel can vote for a Democrat is, if you're Jewish in New York City or any place else in this country, and how you can vote for a Democrat is unbelievable, because he chose Iran, a very hostile Iran. Remember when he filled up a 757 with cash, billions of dollars of cash, and he sent it over to them. Then they gave them tens of billions of dollars. He chose Iran over Israel. and really the Arab world, if you look, because, the other, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, I mean, you take a look. I mean, I can add Kuwait and I can add Bahrain, and you can add others. He chose such an unlikely candidate. Nobody could believe it. Frankly, if you're going to choose between Iraq and Iran, he should have befriended Iraq. He went in the exact opposite direction of all thinking, and he made a terrible mistake. But that was a road to a nuclear weapon. And when I terminated that, everyone said, oh, he terminated it. It was one of the best things we ever did because he had a road to a nuclear weapon. And it was a very short-term deal. Countries don't do 10-year deals. Countries do hundreds of years. You don't do a 10-year deal. For a country, this isn't, you're a landlord, you're renting a store on a certain street, and you give somebody a 5-year or 10-year lease. This is a country. It was a short-term deal. It was ready to expire. I terminated it before it expired. Took a lot of heat, and it was one of the best things I ever did because he would have had a nuclear weapon. Then he would have had another nuclear weapon, had those beautiful B-2 bombers not gone in 8 months ago and obliterated that site. And by the way, the word is obliteration. CNN said, well, maybe it wasn't complete. It was so complete that they still haven't been able to get it. It was obliteration. But if we didn't hit them, that was a courageous decision, too, because we had all those planes flying in at night with very little cover, unbelievable stealth planes, and they were able to do their job. If we didn't do that, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon at a high level, either one of those two instances. And if they did, in my opinion, I told this to Bibi Netanyahu yesterday, Israel would have been extinguished. Large portions of the Middle East would have been extinguished, whether it's Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, or others. And you saw that with thousands of missiles raining down upon them. They didn't think they were going to be hit. They thought they'd be watching us fight. And all of a sudden, UAE got hit by 1,500 missiles. He would have taken them out also. And they were powerful. If I didn't come along and terminate the Obama deal, which was terrible, the Iran nuclear deal was a road to a nuclear weapon, a big one, unlimited, legally. I terminated it without even much thought. It was so easy. I terminated that.
Heyo. I gotta find this one here. Oh, no. Third one. We gotta watch this. Alright. God damn it. So we gotta get ourselves some Corey Feldman here. Okay, yeah, I didn't want to watch that Trump thing. Apparently it was a year old. So that's okay. Yeah, year old. Oh, Mike's not in line. Okay. So we'll go ahead and watch this Corey Feldman bullshit. This is great. Right when I heard him playing the goddamn acoustic, his fucking, what is it, like a Starcaster acoustic he has? That can't even be a Fender. That's not a Fender, is it? I feel like I've seen that like 20 years ago. I gotta give this guy a like at least, huh?
Walk away!
Get ready for this shit. Oh my god. Did you hear the beginning of that? It was, I guess, I don't think the mic was dialed in. Ah! Sounded like shit. It's so bad. Bro, this is bad. It's getting better, but that was bad. That was bad. I gotta go from the beginning now. I forgot to hit record, so we'll go. Here we go.
We must walk away.
It's so bad. Oh my God. It's like Robert Smith is just hopelessly addicted to heroin and meth and every other drug. I think at least Robert Smith now looks all fat and plump. He looks like Robert Smith with AIDS, dude. What the fuck? This is his birthday bash, no? This had to have been his birthday bash. Was it his 60th? No, I know. He's younger than my mom. What was he, 55 now? Oh my God, look at his picking. I think he's even holding a pick and he's upstroking like that. Yeah, he's holding a pick and dude, he is the worst guitarist. He sucks, dude. He doesn't even know how to hold a pick. 50 years and he can't figure out how to hold a fucking pick, dude. I mean, we all hold our picks differently, but that's not how you hold a fucking pick. Jesus Christ. Why couldn't you sing like that during the walk away part? Like during, you sounded okay there, but then this other fucking, you sound like Hendrix did the night he died. Fuck. Like as he died, not the show. While he was dying, as he lay dying. That sounds decent. There you go. Get it, brother. Sax it up. The fuck are we looking at? Dude is totally enjoying this. Unironically. Now that actually might be part of the Jim and Them crew, because they were there. I don't know how they fucking got in.
You might go back to me. I want to I've got to stand my ground. Gotta walk away. And I'm for the fall down.
Fucked up. I was muted. I was muted. My bad. This is a completely different guy on saxophone now, right? Yeah, you got two guys. He's upstroking like everything he does. He upstrokes as much as a normal guitarist downstrokes. He is bad, dude. Like, has anybody ever? I guarantee you, people try to. He's like, nah, I've been doing this way for 20 years. You're not correcting me now. He's doing everything wrong. Everything. Sucks. Downstroke, upstroke. Oh my god, it's so awkward. God, he can't help but strum to the exact beat of the drums. Everything he does, his vocals, it all goes to the drums. Like, everything he does is to the drums. Whether he's playing guitar, he's singing, it all goes to the drums. He has not been taught a single fucking thing about music. He strummed the guitar like 5 times there, and he probably should have strummed it around 8 to 9 or 10 times. Like, there should have been more strumming there. Oh, of course, that's his Love Left guitar. So he probably has had that since the fucking 90s when they first came out, that because you don't see that guitar anywhere. I remember there was an acoustic Telecaster, an acoustic Stratocaster. You don't see that. That's like an acoustic Jaguar. Like, what the fuck's going on there, dude? Oh my god, are you... What a fucking ghoul. He's all pilled up. Wow. Dude, what are we doing? You know, and I was just thinking about it. It's like, how can these fucking entertainers that have such a fucking pill problem shit and they just keep going? Well, a guy like Corey, it's all he's ever known. He was pushed to just go, go, go. Basically since the day he was born, if you believe his story. But yeah. Like I wasn't born into that show business, go, go, go. Like no matter how fucked up you are on pills, you just keep going. Like I don't get it, dude. I don't have that drive. I wasn't raised with that drive, dude. Wild to me. Plus, just being in the spotlight, it's exhausting. It really is. Did it a little bit. Nothing major, but, music, comedy, done some things. Exhausting. I don't want to be in the public eye anymore. What do I mean? I chose not to. I just like, tired of it. Open mics and you're hustling to get on showcases. Hustle, hustle. I don't have it in me, dude. I'm old.
Gonna run away, gonna get away, fly away. Gonna fly away, gonna run away, get away. Gonna get away, gonna run away, fly away.
Oh God! Thank God that's over. Holy shit! Fucking 6 minutes of shit.
Yeah!
Yeah. All right. So we'll get into our thing that I wanted to. I've been planning on doing something like this for a while. God damn it! Stop! No. I'm so tired of using a laptop. I should just use a mouse, but move the thing over and then it expands the window into the entire fucking thing. So annoying. Okay. So every so often there's some AI videos, some AI apocalypse videos that they drop, they get uploaded, and you gotta kind of, you know. All right, so we'll do this one. The AI whistleblower here, and a lot of this fear mongering shit. It's a lot of this shit. Oh, the next 12 months. It's a little fucked up, but you know, it's not far off. You know, figure out how to use the new, not app, window. Okay. The new OBS update is a little odd. Here we go. So I just downloaded this. Normally I would just play it straight from YouTube. I also got to take this fucking curse off. And then I also want to add image. Screenshot. Where is it? Now this one, I believe, Neural Nutshell. I believe that's who this was. Okay. Well, where did... God. There we go. Okay, my apologies. And I gotta pee.
The sort of scary open secret in the AI industry right now is that right now that is kind of just a hope. It's not something that we can be at all confident in. And in fact, there's lots of evidence and arguments that we're not on track to achieve that. Current AIs, for example, will often lie to people, or they will like, you tell them to do something and they go do something else and then pretend that they did it. So it's an inherently difficult problem to make something that's super intelligent and also has the values and virtues that you want it to have. And it doesn't seem like we're on track to solve that problem. Also, it seems like the sort of problem that you could think you've solved when you haven't actually solved it. That's a big reason why this is scary. So for all those reasons, it's possible that we'll end up essentially creating a new species that ends up ruling the world. And then maybe we go the way of other extinct species in the past that were outcompeted by humans. That's one possibility. There's many more. I wouldn't say human extinction exactly. I would say something like 70% chance that this goes horribly wrong like human extinction, but that's just one of several possibilities.
That's Daniel Kokotajlo. He used to sit inside OpenAI forecasting where this was all headed. He quit, walked away from $2 million just so he could tell you what he saw. He's not selling you a product. Here's what he's warning you about.
You lost $2 million for not signing an anti-disparagement clause, which would mean you couldn't criticize the company.
Yes, well, so I got to keep the money.
Oh, you got to keep
Yeah, so
the money.
what happened was after I had left, said my goodbyes, etc., I got the exit paperwork and it included this clause that said you basically have to agree not to criticize the company again. And also a clause saying you can't tell anyone about this. And so I thought that was kind of rich coming from a nonprofit that's supposed to be for the benefit of all humanity. So I didn't sign it. And if you don't sign, you don't get to keep your equity. So your compensation, what they pay you is a bunch of money and then also a bunch of stock, basically. But then they had this stuff in the contract that they get to yank back your stock if you don't sign this thing. And my wife and I, were upset about this. We talked about it for like a month or two, consulted some lawyers, and then ultimately decided to just refuse to sign.
You would have lost $2 million.
That's right. Which was like 80% of our net worth at the time. Fortunately, it didn't go the way we expected. It blew up basically on the internet. Like when people heard that we had done this and then we had said no, it became like this huge scandal. Employees at the company started like asking questions in Slack and like asking leadership, like, wait, what? Like, why are you going to take away our equity? What is this? Because a lot of people hadn't really noticed this before. It had been whispered about, but it hadn't been sort of like a thing that most employees knew about. And so they backtracked and they said, never mind. We'll change the paperwork. You can keep the equity. It's fine.
And Sam Altman came out and said he was embarrassed that he didn't realize this was
he had no idea, apparently.
You don't believe him?
I think he probably knew. And if he didn't know, then people close to him probably did, such as his head lawyer.
Why did you decide not to take the $2 million?
I mean,
most people would have, I think.
It's true. Most people would have, and most people did. And, money is nice, but like, it's not the only thing, Sometimes it's good to take a stand on principle. I also became a bit more disillusioned with the AI industry. So OpenAI, Anthropic, and DeepMind all had these sort of founding narratives of like, yes, these risks are real, but we've thought about them and we're going to try to handle them responsibly. And that's why it's important for us to keep doing what we're doing. And I increasingly came to think that these were rationalizations to justify what they were doing rather than sort of like deeply guiding their actual behavior, and that when push comes to shove, they'll follow their incentives rather than do what's actually good.
So think about that. A man walks away from 80% of his net worth because a company built around the words "for the benefit of all humanity" tried to buy his silence on the way out. He only got the money back because the internet found out and it turned into a scandal. If they hadn't been caught, he loses $2 million for refusing to shut up about what he watched happen inside that building.
I was muted again. Alright, this is where it gets fucking wild. I watched this earlier. It's I don't watch these all the time, but every so often I'm like, alright, it's been a couple weeks. I need to get a new update on what the next 12 months is going to look like. So let's watch and we'll comment here in a little bit. It's a short one, so I'll try and interject as much as possible, but we kind of just got to sit and listen for real. And I did double check it. It is Neural Nutshell Neural Nutshell who did this one, so.
That tells you everything about how much these companies actually believe their own mission statements. Listen to this.
So right now, they're focusing on automating coding. They're taking their AIs, they're making them bigger, they're training them for longer, and they're especially focusing the training on getting them to be good at autonomously writing and editing code, because that will help the companies go faster, right? If they can automate the code, then they can do their own work better and faster and accelerate progress. The next step, which they've already begun, is to look at the rest of the research process as well, coming up with ideas, analyzing experiments, communicating those results. All the other part of the research process, they're trying to figure out how to train AIs to be good at those as well, so that they can have AIs do the entire thing autonomously.
When you say do the entire thing, what do you mean do the entire thing?
So like Anthropic and OpenAI in particular are trying to automate themselves. Like they're trying to make it the case that they don't really need human employees anymore. They just have a giant.
Holy shit. That's not good, dude. So you're essentially having AI run AI. You're having the inmates run the asylum, as it were.
Army of AIs that's churning away, doing all this autonomous research to make better AIs, to train the new AIs, put them in charge so they can make even better AIs and so forth. And of course, not just happening internally, but also like interfacing with the world, right? Like going out and talking to people, collecting the data, setting up the training environments, doing the business deals and so forth. Like they're trying to automate all of that. The reason why they're doing this is because they're trying to get to a position where they have AIs that are superhuman at everything, super intelligence, and they're trying to get there before their competitors do. Needless to say, this is incredibly dangerous, I would say, you know? And in addition to being dangerous, it's a power grab, right? Like if they actually succeed at this, then they'll be sitting on top of this army of superhuman AIs that will give them immense leverage over all sorts of other actors in the economy. Insofar as they can work out something with the presidents and, you know, integrate it into the military or whatever, then that would give the US immense hard power over all other countries, right? Obviously, nobody knows exactly when this is happening.
A friend of mine who knows some of these people sat me down once upon a time in London. He's actually said this a few times to me, but I remember one particular conversation where he says that some of these AI CEOs predict the probability of extinction at being, I think he said 7%. I don't know why I have that number in my head, but I remember it being less than 10%. And the point he was making to me was that even if it was 1%, like if there was 100 buttons on this table now, and one of them would end the world, would I dare press any of them? You know,
You don't press the button.
I wouldn't press any of them. But he made the case to me that these AI CEOs are very smart and they understand super intelligence, and that they think actually if there was 100 buttons on this table right now, maybe 10 of them could end the world. I've heard you say, I think it was on the Daily Show, the interview you did, you said that you think there's a 70% chance of human extinction due to AI.
I wouldn't say human extinction exactly. I would say something like 70% chance that this goes horribly wrong, like human extinction, but that's just one of several possibilities.
Horribly
But
wrong,
basically.
sure.
Like for example, possibly the AIs take over and then don't actually kill everyone, you know? Maybe they do something else. Like just because they've taken over doesn't mean they're definitely going to kill us, right? They might, but they could do something else. So that's why I don't usually say like 70% chance of like actual human extinction, but 70% chance of like something like AIs taking over, some sort of very big catastrophe like that. That could lead to human.
I guess I got 2 points there, which is you've been around these CEOs. I mean, you've worked for Sam Altman at OpenAI before you quit. Do you think that they think there's a chance of human extinction?
All right, hold on. All right, good. Here's the thing. I liked what it said here.
You've been around these CEOs. I mean, you've worked for Sam Altman at OpenAI before you quit. Do you think that they think there's a chance of human extinction?
Yes.
The plan these companies
I didn't rewind far enough. So yeah, like, so you're using AI to solve problems that essentially the human brain can't solve. And you're developing this, and then all of a sudden you end up in a situation where the AI has taken over. It's not necessarily going to kill us all. It's because you trained it to problem solve. It's going to come up with millions, maybe trillions of scenarios how it can deal with us. We're fucked, dude. We are fucked. We are going to be enslaved by fucking robots, bro. Like, it seems crazy to say that, but I think it's highly possible.
are running right now is not to build helpful tools for regular people first. It's to automate their own workforce, hand the keys to an army of AI researchers, and let that army build a smarter version of itself over and over until humans aren't needed in the loop anymore. And the man who spent years forecasting this for OpenAI is telling you straight up 70% odds this ends in something close to human extinction. That number
Was that Sam Altman who said that? Because I have a Sam Altman video coming up here.
should not be something we're this calm about. Let's continue.
If AI does in fact get incredibly powerful, that's going to change the balance of power between nations. That's going to disrupt a lot of things. That puts us at increased risk of crisis more generally. Another one, what about those jobs? You're going to lose your
Fuck. It took our jobs.
taxi job, but not just the taxi driver, everybody. There might be a few exceptions, like people whose jobs for legal reasons are only allowed to be done
It took our jobs.
by humans. But for the most part, everybody should be afraid that their jobs are going to be lost, even if we manage to avoid all the other problems.
What skills should people/students focus on over the next 10 years?
Oh my
Like
God.
imagine if you were someone living in Mexico in like
I fucked
1500
up.
and then you hear that like the conquistadors are coming. You could be asking yourself like, okay, well, what sort of job should I be switching to?
Holy shit, guys. I fucked up. It was way too loud. I didn't have... God damn it, dude. I didn't have... Oh my God. Anybody who listens to this back live, I apologize. Yeah. I didn't have my proper safeguards here. I didn't check the volume because I got used to using limiters. I assumed the limiter was on. Son of a bitch. We gotta go back. We gotta start over. My bad, guys.
The sort of scary open secret in the AI industry right now is that right now that is kind of just a hope. It's not something that we can be at all confident in. And in fact, there's lots of evidence and arguments that we're not on track to achieve that. Current AIs, for example, will often lie to people, or they will like, you tell them to do something and they go do something else and then pretend that they did it. So it's an inherently difficult problem to make something that's super intelligent and also has the values and virtues that you want it to have. And it doesn't seem like we're on track to solve that problem. Also, it seems like the sort of problem that you could think you've solved when you haven't actually solved it. That's a big reason why this is scary. So for all those reasons, it's possible that we'll end up essentially creating a new species that ends up ruling the world. And then maybe we go the way of other extinct species in the past that were outcompeted by humans. That's one possibility. There's many more. I wouldn't say human extinction exactly. I would say something like 70% chance that this goes horribly wrong like human extinction, but that's just one of several possibilities.
That's Daniel Kokotajlo. He used to sit inside OpenAI forecasting where this was all headed. He quit, walked away from $2 million just so he could tell you what he saw. He's not selling you a product. Here's what he's warning you about.
You lost $2 million for not signing an anti-disparagement clause, which would mean you couldn't criticize the company.
Yes, well, so I got to keep the money.
Oh, you got to keep
So
them.
what happened was after I had left,
You gotta love these NDAs. And, Howard Stern wanted a lot of people to sign NDAs when they left, and Shuley was one of the first. He never signed it. He said, fuck you. I'm not signing that. I'm going to say what I want to say. You're not going to control me for the rest of my fucking life. Yeah. Fuck NDAs, dude. Like, sometimes they're necessary, whatever. If you're working on, like, a game or something, yeah, I get it.
said my goodbyes, etc. I got the exit paperwork, and it included this clause that said you basically have to agree not to criticize the company again, and also a clause saying you can't tell anyone about this. And so I thought that was kind of rich coming from a nonprofit that's supposed to be for the benefit of all humanity. So I didn't sign it. And if you don't sign, you don't get to keep your equity. So your compensation, what they pay you is a bunch of money and then also a bunch of stock, basically. But then they had this stuff in the contract that they get to yank back your stock if you don't sign this thing. And my wife and I, were upset about this. We talked about it for like a month or two, consulted some lawyers, and then ultimately decided to just refuse to sign.
You would have lost $2 million.
That's right. Which was like 80% of our net worth at the time. Fortunately, it didn't go the way we expected. It blew up basically on the internet. Like when people heard that we had done this and that we had said no, it became like this huge scandal. Employees at the company started like asking questions in Slack and like asking leadership like, wait, what? Like, why are you going to take away our equity? What is this? Because a lot of people hadn't really noticed this before. It had been whispered about, but it hadn't been sort of like a thing that most employees knew about. And so they backtracked and they said, never mind. We'll change the paperwork. You can keep the equity. It's fine.
And Sam Altman came out and said he was embarrassed that he didn't realize this was going.
Yeah, he had no idea, apparently.
You don't believe him?
I think he probably knew. And if he didn't know, then people close to him probably did, such as his head lawyer.
Why did you decide not to take the $2 million?
I mean,
most people would have, I think.
It's true, most people would have and most people did. And, you know, money is nice, but like, it's not the only thing, you know? Sometimes it's good to take a stand on principle. I also became a bit more disillusioned with the AI industry. So OpenAI, Anthropic, and DeepMind all had these sort of founding narratives of like, yes, these risks are real, but we've thought about them and we're going to try to handle them responsibly. And that's why it's important for us to keep doing what we're doing. And I increasingly came to think that these were rationalizations to justify what they were doing rather than sort of like deeply guiding their actual behavior, and that when push comes to shove, they'll follow their incentives rather than do what's actually good.
So think about that. A man walks away from 80% of his net worth because a company built around the words "for the benefit of all humanity" tried to buy his silence on the way out. He only got the money back because the internet found out and it turned into a scandal. If they hadn't been caught, he loses $2 million for refusing to shut up about what he watched happen inside that building. That tells you everything about how much these companies actually believe their own mission statements. Listen to this.
So right now, they're focusing on automating coding. They're taking their AIs, they're making them bigger, they're training them for longer, and they're especially focusing the training on getting them to be good at autonomously writing and editing code, because that will help the companies go faster, right? If they can automate the code, then they can do their own work better and faster and accelerate progress. The next step, which they've already begun, is to look at the rest of the research process as well, coming up with ideas, analyzing experiments, communicating those results. All the other part of the research process, they're trying to figure out how to train AIs to be good at those as well, so that they can have AIs do the entire thing autonomously.
When you say do the entire thing, what do you mean, do the entire thing?
So like Anthropic and OpenAI in particular are trying to automate themselves. Like they're trying to make it the case that they don't really need human employees anymore. They just have a giant army of AIs that's churning away, doing all this autonomous research to make better AIs, to train the new AIs, put them in charge so they can make even better AIs and so forth. And of course, not just happening internally, but also like interfacing with the world, right? Like going out and talking to people, collecting the data, setting up the training environments, doing the business deals and so forth. Like they're trying to automate all of that. The reason why they're doing this is because they're trying to get to a position where they have AIs that are superhuman at everything, super intelligence, and they're trying to get there before their competitors do.
Oh, what can go wrong, right? So it's the rat race mixed with gambling with our fucking lives. Great.
Needless to say, this is incredibly dangerous, I would say, you know? And in addition to being dangerous, it's a power grab, right? Like if they actually succeed at this, then they'll be sitting on top of this army of superhuman AI.
Dude, this is fucked up. This is fucked up, dude.
That will give them immense leverage over all sorts of other actors in the economy. Insofar as they can work out something with the presidents and, you know, integrate it into the military or whatever, then that would give the US immense hard power over all other countries, right? Obviously, nobody knows exactly when this is happening.
Look at it. They're fitting a robot with a rifle. That's fucking terrifying, dude. Look at this. And they're Asian, like they're Chinese, I'm guessing. Dude, this is not good. Like, am I the only one that gets a really fucking bad feeling? Honestly, I feel like this has already happened. And then now we're all just on a fucking loop. We're all like enslaved in some sort of what is it, homeostasis? What is it called? Where we're like cryogenically frozen or whatever, and we're linked up to a fucking simulation, and the AI's running it all, dude. It already happened. It already happened. How about that? Think about that. All this shit already happened, and we're just on a loop, hooked up to a fucking computer. Ugh.
A friend of mine who knows some of these people sat me down once upon a time in London. He's actually said this a few times to me, but I remember one particular conversation where he says that some of these AI CEOs predict the probability of extinction at being, I think he said 7%. I don't know why I have that number in my head, but I remember it being less than 10%. And the point he was making to me was that even if it was 1%, like if there was 100 buttons on this table now, and one of them would end the world, would I dare press any of them?
Yeah, no.
You know,
You don't.
I wouldn't press any of them. But he made the case to me that these AI CEOs are very smart and they understand super intelligence, and that they think actually if there was 100 buttons on this table right now, maybe 10 of them could end the world. I've heard you say, I think it was on the Daily Show, the interview you did, you said that you think there's a 70% chance of human extinction due to AI.
I wouldn't say human extinction exactly. I would say something like 70% chance that this goes horribly wrong like human extinction, but that's just one of several possibilities. But yeah, basically. Like for example, possibly the AIs take over and then don't actually kill everyone, you know? Maybe they do something else. Like just because they've taken over doesn't mean they're definitely going to kill us, right? They might, but they could do something else. So that's why I don't usually say like 70% chance of like actual human extinction, but 70% chance of like something like AIs taking over, some sort of very big catastrophe like that. That could lead to human.
I guess I got 2 points there, which is you've been around these CEOs. I mean, you've worked for Sam Altman at OpenAI before you quit. Do you think that they think there's a chance of human extinction?
Yes.
The plan these companies are running right now is not to build helpful tools for regular people first. It's to automate their own workforce, hand the keys to an army of AI researchers, and let that army build a smarter version of itself over and over until humans aren't needed in the loop anymore. And the man who spent years forecasting this for OpenAI is telling you straight up 70% odds this ends in something close to human extinction. That number should not be something we're this calm about. Let's continue.
If AI does in fact get incredibly powerful, that's going to change the balance of power between nations. That's going to disrupt a lot of things. That puts us at increased risk of crisis more generally. Another one, what about those jobs? You're going to lose your taxi job, but not just the taxi driver, everybody. There might be a few exceptions, like people whose jobs for legal reasons are only allowed to be done by humans. But for the most part, everybody should be afraid that their jobs are going to be.
That's fucking crazy. I mean, I'm a jeweler. Now, we've got lab-grown diamonds now. You could easily put AI in charge of growing the diamonds. You got lab-grown stones. There's computers that do laser welding. You could put AI in charge of that. Honestly, there's some parts of my job I can't imagine AI replacing me. Because the people want human beings working on their jewelry. They really do. Their jewelry is very sentiment. It has sentimental value. But I don't know. It's possible. I mean, if we get to that point where humans just don't even care that it's a computer working on their shit rather than the loving natural touch of a human, then I guess my job's fucked too, right? I don't know. I'm doing all these micro calculations in my head. Like, okay, a computer can analyze its pressure, like tightening a stone. It knows the softness of the stone. It can like use a laser to just analyze it. Like, okay, it has this fragility here and that. Oh, yeah. But we're not there yet in the jewelry industry, that's for sure. Crazy to think about, though, man. Like, at the rate it's accelerating, we could easily be replaced.
Lost, even if we manage to avoid all the other problems.
What skills should people/students focus on over the next 10 years?
Like imagine if you were someone living in Mexico in like 1500 and then you hear that like the conquistadors are coming. You could be asking yourself like, okay, well, what sort of job should I be switching to like survive this transition? But like you have a lot more to worry about besides that. But yes, I think I would say that like if we manage to avoid the loss of control problem and we end up with humans still in charge of the AIs and humans can like say what the AI's goals and values are supposed to be, even as they become much smarter than humans and even as they run the whole economy, then probably there will be regulation that protects some areas. And you can try to guess at what those areas might be. Maybe stuff that's more like judges, potentially.
What about podcasters? Be honest.
Probably not podcasters. Stuff like, being a nanny, maybe, right? Like, I think that even if there's a robot nanny that's like really, really good, I think a bunch of people might prefer to have an actual.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of industries where people want a human being to be in charge of whatever their whatever service. Oh no. Oh darn. I think I opened that second Crimson Vow pack. Hmm. Ugh. God, my sneezes today are brutal. Oh. But yeah, there's like, you know, if I'm gonna have my guitar worked on, I need I want to get my pickups swapped out, and due to the the way my guitar is wired, like I don't want to do it myself. I'll do it myself on my Stratocaster, but my Telecaster, I can't do it. There is a modification though I think I can do on my own. It's flipping the magnet and giving my Telecaster, which is essentially a Les Paul, the Greenie effect. If you don't know anything about Peter Green's guitar Greenie, it was when it was produced, they put the neck pickup they put in. Someone fucked up when they built the pickup, and the magnet was reversed, and it created a really awesome sound. But your guitar has to be switched into the middle position where it's using both pickups. And lately, I have been preferring that middle position, using both pickups or the middle pickup on the Stratocaster. But however, I don't think I'm gonna hire a robot to do that for me. You know, I'm gonna hire a guy who knows his guitars, or I'm gonna do it myself.
Human, because they might be creeped out by the idea of a really good robot nanny. So you can sort of reason like that. There's also like stuff that might be legally protected, like maybe judges, for example, like are going to be legally required to be humans and not robots.
Some people say, though, there's going to be so many jobs created that we can't foresee right now, like there was in the Industrial Revolution or the internet boom or whatever.
The problem with that is that past technological advancements have been more narrow. They've like automated some things, but not everything. But we are talking about a hypothetical future situation in which everything gets automated. So there isn't any new job that you could do that the AI couldn't also do, except if it's like protected by regulation or something. That's also a thing. For example, right now there's this sort of like cycle where the AIs learn to do a certain thing, like write copy or draft code or like debug something. And then humans who used to do that thing switch to managing AIs or switch to doing the other stuff that the AIs can't do. And that's why there's been this dynamic historically of new jobs opening up and people flooding to them. But if it gets to the point where the AIs can do everything that humans can do and better and faster and cheaper, then whatever that new job is that you might have switched to, like the AIs can switch to that too. And they'll already be better at it than you.
Guys, he's comparing losing your job to the conquistadors showing up at your door. That's not a throwaway line. That's how he actually sees it. And the honest answer he gives about which jobs survive is basically nothing. Maybe a judge, maybe a nanny. People don't trust a robot with.
Yep. Essential manual labor. Like, I don't know if I want a robot to clean my house up and down. Maybe. But you know, building a car? Yeah, probably. If you build cars for a living, you're fucked. Maybe even mechanics. You might be fucked. I don't know, man. And maybe I'm just sensitive about my own job, but I don't think we're anywhere near a point where anyone's going to want a robot to replace their jeweler. Get the fuck out of here.
Everyone else, including the podcasters interviewing him, gets swept up in the same wave. This isn't some far-off industry getting disrupted. It's every job at the same time once the automation actually kicks in. Now listen to this.
Do you have children?
Yeah, I have 2 children. It's kind of sad. Like, I think that one way or another, this will probably all be over by the time they're old enough to join the workforce. So I don't think they'll ever join the workforce.
When you say this will be all over by the time they join the work, what do you mean by this will be all over?
So these milestones that I
That's dark. That's dark. All right, let's listen.
described, like AI is automating the AI research, AI is getting super intelligent, AI is then exploding out into the economy, taking the jobs, building robot factories to build more robots, to build more factories, etc. GDP starting to go vertical. That sort of thing is what I mean. Like all of those events transpiring. Maybe there's like, 10, 20% chance or something that hits a wall and none of this comes to pass, even if you don't do anything.
I noticed that when I asked you if you had kids, your demeanor changed quite considerably.
Well, it's
It's like you dropped into a different state. Obviously, that's been central to the rumination that you've been experiencing.
well, it is a sad topic, right? Like when I had
Shit, I was muted again. What did he mean by GDP going vertical? Like, is that? I mean, like heels over head? But no, obviously it's going to be an increase in GDP, but it's so we're not producing it, right? That's what he's saying. Like it's just astronomical, and it's all robots, and humans aren't doing it, of course.
kids, like the reason to have kids is in large part about the future, like it's not just like a cuddly thing to have with you in the moment. It's because you have all these hopes and dreams about how they'll grow up and how they'll go do their own thing and be their own person and stuff. And because of what's happening with AI, I think a lot of those dreams are in jeopardy.
Presumably, you still would have had kids.
I've actually flip-flopped on this
Really?
occasionally. Yeah. Basically, the top line answer is I'm not sure. My first child, we had her when she was born 2019.
Yeah.
So this is before my timeline shortened a lot. So at this point, I was interested in AI. I was tracking the field. I was making forecasts, but I didn't actually expect it to happen soon, And then this caused when I did start thinking oh my gosh, it's going to be happening real soon, by 2030, that caused some reconsidering. And so I basically told my wife, let's not have any more kids. It's too uncertain, But that turned out to be really hard because, especially for my wife, we already had one kid and no siblings. So eventually I sort of gave in and was okay, well, you know what? We already have one. It's going to be all right. Maybe the future will be good. And even if it's not, well, we're all in the same boat together.
It's quite chilling what you're saying. It's chilling because
Bro, the kid thing, he made it seem at first like they had a couple of kids already. But no, it was an only child. I'm an only child. And let me tell you, if I was being brought into this world where the future is so uncertain, please, at least give me a sibling to fucking to get through this with, dude. Because once you guys are gone, I'm all alone. What the fuck? That's bad, dude. Dude, at least give your, I know what it's like to be an only child. It's pretty fucked up. I've had step siblings, but that turned out to be even worse. The least you could do, if you're uncertain about the future, at least make sure your offspring has a buddy, a battle buddy, two brothers up against AI. That's a movie right there, bro.
you know more than me. And if you're at home saying to your wife, listen, maybe we should pause on having more children and building a family because of what's going on with AI.
To be clear, yes, it's very concerning. I am chilled. This is bad. This is what I've been saying. I hope things go well. I think things might go well. I think that there's a lot we can do to steer things in a better direction.
We can fix it.
So this guy who forecasts this industry for a living looked at his own daughter and quietly accepted that she probably won't grow up into a normal working life.
So he has a
He's
daughter.
not being dramatic for the camera. This is someone who told his wife to stop having kids because the future felt too unstable to bring more people into it. When the
Fucking
person
dark.
who studies the timelines for a living starts talking like this about his own family, that's the moment you stop treating this as some distant sci-fi conversation.
Why should the average person care?
High level thing is absolutely everything is going to change for the whole world, and including therefore for them and their families. Could change for the better, could change for the worse, depending on the details of how it's done. So for example, everyone could die. And this is the classic loss of control scenario, or one version of it. If we do build these superintelligences and we use them to automate all the jobs, and we put them in the military, and we, have them giving advice to politicians and so forth, they will eventually have accumulated enough real world power that they don't need humans anymore. And they're smarter than us, they're more strategic, etc. At that point, we sort of have to hope that they are virtuous, that they have, the goals that we wanted them to have, the values that we wanted them to have, etc. And the sort of scary open secret in the AI industry right now is that right now that is kind of just a hope. It's not something that we can be at all confident in. And in fact, there's lots of evidence and arguments that we're not on track to achieve that.
You've spent, must be almost coming up to 15 years thinking about this stuff. If this here was a button, and if you press that button, your plan S would occur, and it would shut down every data center that is currently training a frontier AI model for good. There would never be any other AI labs working on these problems. Would you press that button?
I was about to slam it until you said for good.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think if it was a sort of temporary shutdown, I would totally slam that button, because we are not ready to do this, Like, civilization is not ready to have these companies automate themselves and then get smarter and smarter and then have the super intelligent. Like, no, there's a bunch of reasons why that's really dangerous.
Now, the entire plan for how humanity survives this comes down to a hope that a system smarter than every human on Earth happens to end up with the values we wanted it to have, even though nobody can actually check. And when he's handed a button that would shut the whole thing down right now, temporarily, he says he'd slam it without hesitation. He only hesitates when it's permanent, because he still believes there's good on the other side of this if it's done right. But by his own estimate, we're not doing it right. We're racing 3 companies, a handful of CEOs who don't trust each other, building something none of them fully understand, betting the whole species on the hope that it turns out fine. If this made you uneasy, subscribe, because whatever happens next is happening faster than any of us are being told.
That's it? All right. How's that smoking? Yeah, so that's basically what we got. Like, I had this plan for a while, like, because every so often I poke my head into the AI world there and ask questions. I have questions. I want to know where the AI's headed. That's fucking terrifying, dude. It really is. So let's do this one. Wait a minute. Where did it? Oh, dude. Oh, okay. My bad. I screwed up. All right. This one. Trying something different here. So this is a fun one. Let me change this. It's not neural network. It's what was it? One of these. Not that one. That one right there. There it is. These guys here, they did a collab. I'll leave it at the top there. I might arrange it. But this is a fun one. I like this one. This is the 10 forbidden rooms in the Vatican. No one has been allowed to enter. I like it. I've always heard stories about the Vatican, they're hiding all sorts of secret shit there. You've all heard it. Let's check this out.
Okay, let's start. Number 1. The Vatican Library's Room 0. The year is 1611. You're a senior librarian under Pope Paul V, and you are implementing the most comprehensive catalog reform in the Vatican Library's history. The library's holdings span manuscripts from across the ancient world, papyrus scrolls and codices, astronomical tables, theological texts from traditions that predate Christianity, histories in a dozen languages. Your task is to assign every room, every shelf, Every case, a standardized reference number so that any item can be located and returned.
I love this video because it really brings you into the perspective of the people that, yeah, I love it.
Without ambiguity. You work systematically. You number each room. At the end of your survey, you encounter a room that appears to contain nothing. Small, shelves empty, floor clean. The air inside is, you note in your memo, slightly different from the adjacent rooms. Cooler, stiller, a quality you don't have a technical word for. You designate it Room 0 because your convention begins at Room I, and this room sits outside the logic of your catalog. You write, empty storage. You lock it. You move on. That catalog entry, Room 0, empty storage, reappears in every annual Vatican Library catalog update from 1611 to the present. The same designation, the same notation. Updated annually across 4 centuries by different librarians in different decades, each one writing the same thing. Empty storage. An empty room does not require annual confirmation that it is still empty. A room that is formally documented 12 months at a time for 414 consecutive years is not being recorded, it is being monitored. The annual notation is not passive administrative habit.
Absolutely. 400 years? Yeah, that's being monitored, dude. What are we doing?
It is active surveillance written in the language of institutional record keeping. Something in Room 0 requires checking on. Something about its status is not so stable that it can be left alone. Here's where it gets strange. 23 formal research access requests have been submitted to the Vatican Apostolic Library for Room 0 between 1900 and 2023. The researchers who have filed them are paleographers, archaeologists, material historians, a specialist in pre-Akkadian writing systems, a biologist, and a physicist. The disciplines are not adjacent. There is no obvious through line connecting a pre-Akkadian script specialist to a physicist. Whatever has drawn each of them to request access to a room cataloged as empty storage is not a shared research question. It is something more basic than that. A room the Vatican monitors annually and will not open has attracted 23 separate researchers across a century and every discipline of inquiry. All 23 requests have been denied. The most recent denial, in 2019, was issued to a researcher from Cambridge University specializing in ancient script systems predating any known writing. The Vatican Library's response thanked her for her interest and confirmed that Room 0 was not available for research access as the contents were under ongoing assessment. 414 years of ongoing assessment. One person is known to have accessed Room 0 outside the formal request process. Brother Giacomo Venti, a Vatican archivist, entered the room in 1947 using a master key during a period of post-war administrative instability when security protocols were inconsistently applied. He described his experience to a colleague the following morning. That colleague, Monsignor Arturo Saletti, recorded the conversation in his personal diary. Saletti's diary was digitized by a Roman Historical Society in 2014. Venti told Saletti that the room was not empty. 3 objects, spherical, metallic in appearance, positioned slightly above shoulder height from the floor, with nothing visible beneath them. While he stood in the room, the objects moved, slowly. They produced a sound. When he left and locked the door, he could still hear the sound faintly through the wood for approximately 4 minutes before it stopped. 3 metallic spheres, floating, moving without contact with any surface, sounding. In an empty room. Number 2. The Archivum Apostolicum Room 13. The year is 1881. You're a German historian standing in the reading room of the Vatican Apostolic Archive on the first day it has ever been opened to non-ecclesiastical scholars. Pope Leo XIII has just done something his predecessors refused to do for 3 centuries. He has unlocked the archive. For the first time since 1612, outside researchers are permitted to request documents and read them at supervised tables where the light comes through high windows and the air smells of vellum and cold stone. You have spent years arranging this access. You are here. The cataloging system is precise. Rooms numbered in sequence. Collections within each room assign their own reference numbers. You work through the finding aids methodically. Room 1 through Room 12, then Room 14. The sequence skips 13. You ask a cataloger why. He looks at you for a moment.
The classic 13. You know how there's no floor, 13th floor on buildings. Now, I think, first of all, your 14th floor is going to be your 13th floor, so you're not skirting fucking what is it? Um, holy shit, I'm drawing a blank on that word. Superstition. You're not escaping superstition there. Your 13th floor is your 14th floor. But I think there should always be a 13th floor. You just can't access it. You either go through stairs or there's a freight elevator that goes to it. And I think that is some cases in some buildings. I think in New York City they'll use the 13th floor as a place for like electrical shit, something like that.
Before answering, he says there is no room 13. You check the finding aids again. The numbering jumps cleanly from 12 to 14 as if 13 never existed. No errata. No note of consolidation. No administrative explanation for why a sequence catalog.
I actually want to find out if there's a 13th floor in places that's secret, and I want to go to it. I want to spend a night there. Starting to give myself backroom vibes now. We might play backrooms in a little bit. I bought the game on PlayStation 5 about a month ago. Still haven't played it. Let's play backrooms.
Built for precision skips a number in the middle. There is a room 13. The catalog simply does not say so. In 1927, a Vatican archivist named Monsignor Pietro Farini submitted an internal request for clarification on certain catalog entries, whose reference codes appeared to indicate a 13th room. The codes existed in a cross-reference ledger he was consulting on an unrelated project. They pointed to a room the published catalog did not acknowledge. Farini's request was answered 3 weeks later by a senior prefect. The response confirmed that the room designation had been retired. The contents had been transferred. Where they had been transferred was not specified. Farini noted something else in his private correspondence, recovered from a different Roman archive decades later. He had seen the room, not entered it. But on one occasion, when a cataloger's key ring was misplaced, a door at the end of the 12 corridor had been opened for a moment by accident, then immediately closed. Farini described, in a letter to his brother, 2 things he glimpsed in that fraction of a second: stone and light with no visible source. Not candlelight, not a window. Light present in a sealed room whose entrance had just been accidentally opened for the first time in an unknown number of years. He used a specific Latin phrase for the stone's surface: lapis non natus, stone not born. No standard liturgical or academic meaning. An improvised description from a man who had spent his career handling medieval manuscripts and had apparently found the experience inadequate for what he had seen. Here's where it gets strange. The cross-reference ledger Farini was consulting was removed from circulation after 1929. The ledger was partially digitized before its restriction. 3 researchers working independently between 2008 and 2014 identified the same gap in the published catalog. Each filed access requests for the materials the ledger indicated. Each was told the material had been moved to a separate collection under the Pontifical Commission for Sacred Archaeology. That commission confirmed, when asked directly, that no such transfer had occurred. In 2019, a materials historian from the University of Bologna submitted a formal request under Italy's cultural heritage access laws, arguing that even restricted holdings should be subject to basic cataloging transparency. The Vatican Apostolic Archive responded, citing its status as sovereign property of the Holy See, and declined. In 1953, structural reinforcement work was conducted on the archive building by an Italian engineering firm. Their survey, preserved in Rome's municipal records, shows a room adjacent to the 12 corridor that does not correspond to any catalogued space. The engineers noted it. They were told it was a utility chamber and to proceed with reinforcing the surrounding walls. The reinforcement was performed. The room was incorporated into the structure, its walls strengthened from the outside, its door sealed inside the new masonry. The Vatican Apostolic Archive has preserved every letter, confession, and decree of 12 centuries of papal administration. It has catalogued every piece of paper it contains since 1612. Every room in that building has a number. Every number appears in the finding aids, except one. What does a room need to contain for an institution that has kept everything to decide it keeps nothing here? What does light with no visible source look like in a sealed room whose door has been accidentally opened for 3 seconds? What is stone not born? What sits inside the most guarded archive in human history that requires not just restricted access, but the elimination of its own address from a system of record that has tracked documents since before the Gregorian calendar was established? The archive opened its doors to the world in 1881. Behind those doors, it has one room it will not say exists. Whatever is in it has been there, in the dark, with its sourceless light, since before anyone outside the Vatican was permitted to ask. Number 3. The Sub-Petrine Chamber. The year is 1939. You're an excavation worker underneath St. Peter's Basilica. Pope Pius XII has authorized a dig beneath the floor of the basilica, something no pope has permitted in modern times. The stated purpose is to find the tomb of St. Peter himself, believed by tradition to lie directly beneath the main altar. You're part of a team of 12 workers supervised by 4 archaeologists from the Pontifical Academy of Archaeology. The excavations proceed carefully. You're in the Vatican necropolis, a buried street of ancient mausoleums constructed into the hillside in the 1st and 2nd centuries AD. The chambers are intact. Frescoes still legible after 19 centuries. Inscriptions still readable. The dust is fine and the air is old and the work is quiet until, 3 months in, your pick goes through a floor that shouldn't be there into a space below. The space is larger than the passage above it. The archaeologists lower a lantern on a rope. The light catches walls covered in markings that none of the 4 archaeologists will describe in their notes as either Christian or Roman. The team descends. They spend 47 minutes in the sub-level chamber. That number 47 appears in the excavation notes for that day because someone recorded how long the descent team was below. What they did in those 47 minutes was never formally documented. The excavation notes contain a gap at precisely the point where the sub-level examination should appear. The team leader's journal, donated to a Roman university after his death in 1971, describes arriving at the sub-level and then contains a passage that has been redacted, not carefully. Crossed through with a black pen pressed so hard the paper is indented. Under strong light, some letters remain visible. Researchers who have examined the journal describe the legible fragments as including the words, "not from here" and "before the first." Pius XII was informed the same evening. Within 72 hours, the sub-level access point was sealed with poured concrete. The excavation continued on the upper necropolis level. The tomb of St. Peter was eventually identified and proclaimed genuine by Paul VI in 1968. The official publication of the excavation's findings contains no reference to a sub-level chamber. Here's where it gets strange. 4 members of the original 12-person work crew gave interviews at various points in their later lives. None described the sub-level directly. 2 of them, questioned separately by different interviewers in different decades with no known contact between them after the project ended, used language so nearly identical it resists coincidence. One said, "There were things down there that hadn't been placed by human hands." The other, 20 years later, in a different city, "The markings on those walls were not made by people. The same substance, different phrasings, no collaboration possible." Ground-penetrating radar surveys conducted during later structural assessments of the necropolis area have detected a void beneath sections of the previously excavated zone, at a depth consistent with an unexcavated lower chamber. Those surveys exist in Vatican engineering records. They do not appear in any archaeological publication. The void is confirmed in one archive and absent from the other, which is exactly the kind of gap that exists when an institution knows what's there and has decided it should not be where anyone looks. Below St. Peter's tomb. Below a Roman necropolis that predates Christianity by centuries. Below a basilica that has been the center of that faith for 1700 years, a chamber that exists in engineering surveys as a void, in construction records as poured concrete, and in 4 separate...
All right, guys. Yeah, this is there's a lot here. I don't want to just fast forward through it, but yeah, this is very interesting stuff. This one was so this was the tower, I believe.
eyewitness accounts across 4 decades as something none of them would name directly. Not from here. Before the first. Not placed by human hands. Not made by...
I watched most of this, but then, I was checking on other things. And
people. What does a pope learn in a single evening that causes him to pour concrete over a section of his own basilica's floor?
That's a funny question.
Within 72 hours. What did 4 workers see in 47 minutes that they spent the rest of their lives approaching, indicating, circling, but never landing? What were the markings on those walls that trained archaeologists could not describe as either Christian or Roman, the two traditions that built every significant structure in the city around them?
Now, I need to go back in history and, like, why are we deciphering Christian from Roman? I guess our modern Christian society is a post-Roman society. That's what I'm guessing. Because, the Romans they beat the shit out of Jesus and fucking crucified him thanks to the Jews.
And why, if the sub-level chamber does not exist, does it appear in Vatican engineering records as a documented void that no subsequent archaeological team has been permitted to enter? Number 4. The Tower of Winds Inner Vault. The year is 1582.
Here we
You're
go. Yes, here we go. It's the tower. Okay.
Mathematician working under Pope Gregory III.
Wait, okay, no, we moved on to 4 now. Last one was 3. God damn it, I'm confused.
In the Meridian Room of the Tower of Winds, a newly completed astronomical observatory on the northern end of the Vatican palaces. Your task is historic. The Julian calendar has accumulated a 10-day error, over 15 centuries of drift against the actual solar year.
Oh, no! What are we gonna do?
And you are part of the team tasked with correcting it. The work requires instruments calibrated to track the sun's position with an exactitude
Now, keep in mind, like, the universe and this Earth and, like, the trajectories and everything, it might not be the same year to year, millennium to millennium to millennium. This shit is millions of years old, dude. You're gonna have to keep calibrating it, you dipshit. Because, yeah, what we have to, that's why we have leap year. It's either I think it's leap year, is because of the change in, guys, this thing is on a scale of millions and millions of years. You are microscopic, bro. Give up.
previous European astronomer has achieved. The tower was built for this purpose.
My point is, just like, adapt. I'm all about adaptability, dude. Like, I don't like change. I don't. But you have to adapt. And as things, so like, oh God, we got to recalibrate a whole tower. Well, don't build a tower based on the sun's trajectory on one given day. This shit is on a scope of 1,000,000 years, dude.
A precision hole in the southern wall admits a beam of sunlight that traces a line across the marble floor through the seasons. The angle of the beam on any given date tells you where you are in the solar year, with accuracy no mechanical clock can match. You are using it to confirm the calculations that will become the Gregorian calendar. Gregory the 13th will announce the reform in October.
Dude, how? Was Gregory a fucking alien? Like, this shit is amazing to me, though. Like, thousands of years ago. Like, I'm not discounting all of it. Like, I think it's truly possible, but the fact that you're measuring it over the course of a fucking 100 years and we're living on a scale of, I don't know, 300,000 years? And then the universe has been going on for millions and millions and millions and millions, or as DSP might say, a gazillion years? Come on. We can't calculate this shit. Like, we can't keep an accurate measurement. I think shit's always gonna change, especially in the universe. There might be a star that blows up that fucks something up 10 light years away, and then next thing we know, our year is 180 days. Think about that. Just think about that.
10 days will be struck from the year. The world will have to adjust. During installation of the marble inlay for the Meridian line, workers removing a section of the original floor broke through into something below. A chamber, small enough to be easily missed. Accessible through a trapdoor that the tower's own architects appear to have built over without knowing it was there. The chamber predates the tower. It predates the papal palaces built above it. Its construction date has never been established, because no one has been permitted to attempt establishing it since 1582. The instruments inside it have never been identified. Here's where it gets strange. What the workers found...
That's where it gets... Wait, no. There's something more coming where it gets strange?
In 1582 survives in 2 documents. The first is a construction receipt
Damn it.
for labor on the tower's meridian confirm the calculations that will become the Gregorian calendar. Gregory XIII will announce the reform in October. 10 days will be struck from the year. The world will have to adjust. During installation of the marble inlay for the Meridian line, workers removing a section of the original floor broke through into something below. A chamber, small enough to be easily missed. Accessible through a trapdoor that the tower's own architects appear to have built over without knowing it was there. The chamber predates the tower. It predates the papal palaces.
How do you build over a trapdoor that you don't know is there? I mean, I realize this is, what, the 1700s or some shit, but seriously, dude.
Built above it. Its construction date has never been established, because no one has been permitted to attempt establishing it since 1582. The instruments inside it have never been identified. Here's where it gets strange.
I guess the trapdoor may have been, I guess maybe whatever supposed trapdoor. We think of trapdoors now as like spring-loaded, all advanced, like cartoonish, but we'll call it a trick door. Yeah, it may have been all grown over, and then they built the tower. Yeah, there's all kinds of shit like that. There's underground shit that we haven't found for so long.
What the workers found in 1582 survives in 2 documents. The first is a construction receipt for labor on the tower's meridian floor. In its margin, in Italian, someone has written, "Found a room below, sealed per order of His Holiness, instruments therein not of known type." The second is a letter from the papal astronomer Ignazio Danti to a colleague in Florence, partially preserved in the Galileo collection at Florence's National Library. Danti describes the find carefully. He says the instruments in the lower chamber appeared astronomical in nature but operated on principles he could not determine. He says one appeared to represent a model of planetary motion with accuracy exceeding anything he could produce with the methods of his century. He was permitted to examine them for 1 afternoon. He was not permitted to sketch them. He was not permitted to return. That letter was discovered by a Florentine archivist in the 1930s and published in a limited academic volume in 1947. It has not been cited in any subsequent scholarship on the Tower of Winds or the Gregorian calendar reform. The chief astronomer of the calendar's creation described instruments of impossible precision found beneath his own observatory. That description has been available in print for nearly 80 years. The historiography of one of the most studied administrative acts in Western history has not engaged with it once. The Tower of Winds still stands. The Meridian Room receives controlled Vatican museums tours. The floor has never been disturbed again in any published architectural survey. The Vatican Museum's public database contains no record of a subfloor chamber or any object recovered from one. What Danti described an orrery, or something like one, precise enough to model planetary motion beyond his century's capability, has been sitting beneath a marble floor since the afternoon a pope's order ended his visit. The Gregorian calendar he helped design in the room above it has been accurate to within seconds per year for 443 years. The instruments used to calibrate it are well documented. The instruments found below them have not been examined since one afternoon in 1582. The Gregorian calendar is the one you use today. Every appointment, every deadline, Every date on every document you sign operates on its structure. It was designed by men working above a sealed room containing mechanisms a 16th century astronomer said exceeded anything his civilization had built. He saw them for one afternoon. Then Gregory XIII decided the afternoon was finished. What instruments were already in the earth beneath the Vatican before Renaissance astronomers arrived to build history's most precise calendar directly above them? Who built a mechanism of planetary motion that a 16th century astronomer, a man who knew his field, completely called beyond anything he could produce? What else is under the floor of that room? Number 5. The Borgia Apartments Room of Maps. The year is 2001. You're a restoration conservator hired by the Vatican museums to assess structural damage to the Borgia Apartments, a suite of rooms on the first floor of the Apostolic Palace, painted in the 1490s by Pinturicchio, under the patronage of Pope Alexander VI. The Borgia Pope, Rodrigo Borgia, a man who purchased the papacy and then spent a decade doing things the Church has spent 5 centuries contextualizing. The frescoes are celebrated art history. The rooms are a regular stop on Vatican museums tours. Your job is assessment, not history. You're running a probe along the wall behind the largest fresco in the Hall of the Saints when the readings change. The plaster layer doesn't behave the way plaster over solid wall behaves. There is a space behind it, constructed, not accidental. You report the anomaly to your project supervisor. She escalates it. 3 days later, a Vatican official arrives, and the restoration project is suspended while the Vatican assesses the discovery internally. Vatican officials and their own personnel enter through the fresco wall. Your restoration team waits in the adjacent room. The door between the 2 spaces is not airtight. The conversation that comes through it was not meant for you. Someone says, in Italian, that the ceiling of the inner room is painted. Someone else asks with what. The first person takes a moment. The stars, he says, but not ours. Here's where it gets strange. The inner room measures approximately 14 by 18 feet based on exterior wall calculations. No window, no ventilation, no drain. The entrance ran through the fresco wall, meaning its last user entered through a painted surface that was then sealed behind them in 1494. The room had been closed for 507 years when the probe found it. The restoration project was not resumed. The Vatican museums issued a statement. The Hall of the Saints fresco had structural issues requiring long-term monitoring. The space was closed to non-essential personnel pending assessment. That assessment has not formally concluded. 5 members of the restoration team were asked to sign non-disclosure agreements regarding their observations during the suspended project. 3 signed, 2 did not. One of the 2 who declined gave an interview to a small Italian architectural heritage journal in 2006. She described the probe readings in technical terms. She described the void, the 3-day assessment, the suspension of the project. She did not describe the interior. She was asked why not. She said, "Because I don't know what was inside. I wasn't permitted to enter, but I was permitted to see the objects they removed from it while they were being placed in transit cases." She described the surfaces of those objects in the moment before the cases were closed, covered in a notation that was not Latin.
The room of maps. I have some questions now.
Not Greek, not any script she had encountered in 20 years of European art restoration. Then she said, "The objects were also, and I want to be precise about this word, warm. Warmer than objects sealed in a cold room for 5 centuries should be. Not warm from handling, warm from themselves." Whatever Rodrigo Borgia or those who preceded him stored behind the fresco wall in 1494 had surfaces covered in an unidentified script and a temperature that violated the basic physics of cold sealed storage. The Vatican removed the objects in transit cases and halted the project. The star chart on the ceiling shows constellations visible from a point in space that is not Earth. The objects taken from the room remained warm after 500 years of being locked behind a painting. Where are those transit cases now? What notation covers the surface of objects that maintain their own temperature across 5 centuries of sealed darkness? What star map requires a separate room hidden behind a fresco to store it? What sky does it show that cannot be shown anywhere else? The Borgias kept records of everything that touched their interests.
Okay.
No inventory lists a room behind the Hall of the Saints. No Borgia document names what was stored there. Whatever it was arrived before the fresco was painted over it, and it was still warm when they took it out. Number 6. The Sancta Sanctorum Crypt. The year is 1903. You're a papal archaeologist who has just been granted access that no one before you has been granted. The Sancta Sanctorum, the private chapel of the medieval popes on the upper floor of the Lateran Palace, is undergoing its first systematic archaeological survey in the modern era. The chapel contains the Acarapita.
Can you imagine being like some of these archaeologists that are brought in? Dude, that must be wild. I don't know, just on a regular level here. Like being an archaeologist gets brought in to investigate the Vatican, like analyze certain things. Like it's fucking awesome, dude. That must be awesome.
Icon of Christ that tradition holds was not painted by human hands.
But obviously, you're going to be sworn to some secrecy, so I don't. That sucks. Like I wouldn't be able to keep my mouth shut. Nope. The truth needs to be told. Like why are there so many secret rooms? And the Vatican is holding so many secrets. So many secrets, man. Just fucking tell us. Like it's so creepy. And then the Pope has to be in this traditional white garb, like it's all so weird to me, and it's unnerving. I don't like it.
It contains relics of the Passion catalogued across successive papal inventories. It is one of the most restricted spaces in Christian history.
It goes into secret societies, and you know, if you guys want, I will dive into secret societies because as a gamer, a lot of gamers, a lot of you guys who play games out there played Assassin's Creed and stuff, and it goes into the Knights Templar. But my obsession with the Knights Templar did not come from Assassin's Creed. It came from me seeing History Channel documentaries, probably like 2005, 2006, some shit like that. So, and then from there, I dove in deeper, but I would be interested in covering Knights Templar if you guys are interested in that.
You have been given permission to survey what is beneath it. You find the subcrypt access on the first day, a stone stair descending from the chapel floor, sealed at the base by an iron grate. The grate is ancient. It is not locked in any conventional sense. It has fused to its frame by mineral accretion. Centuries of calcium and iron deposit have grown over the junction until the grate and the frame are one continuous piece of material. Your team spends 4 days cutting it free. Below the grate, a chamber approximately 20 feet by 30 feet. The ceiling is low, the walls are lined with niches. The air is dry. Not old dry.
Niches or leeches? What the fuck was that?
Not stale, old dry. Not stale dry. Dry, dry, dry.
Sorry.
Below the grate, a chamber approximately 20 feet by 30 feet. The ceiling is low, the walls are lined with niches. The air is dry.
Niches.
Not old dry, not stale dry. Dry, in the way a controlled environment is dry, as if the humidity of Rome has never been permitted inside. The city above you is built on a river. Rome is wet. Basements in Rome fill with water. Crypts under Roman buildings accumulate moisture across centuries. This room has not. Whatever is responsible for the stability of the air in this chamber has been operating across the entire period the iron grate was fused to its frame.
That's so weird. It's almost like ancient technology was actually more sophisticated than what we have now. I mean, if you look back, you could probably say like there was some issues in society because of mold and not intoxication, contamination, whatever. But I don't know. I feel like stone was maybe any mold that was on stone. It probably was organic and it was like somewhat like moss. Like moss isn't poisonous, right? So since you were living in a world full of stone, maybe the mold you got, it was moss. It wasn't fucking black mold in your goddamn asbestos.
That period is at minimum several centuries, possibly considerably more. In the niches along the walls are containers. The containers are what stops the survey team. Here's where it gets strange. The 1903 survey notes, preserved in the Vatican's own Archaeological Commission records, describe the containers as vessels of non-standard manufacture. The notes use the Latin phrase
What?
materia incognita in two separate places. Unknown material. The containers appear metallic, but are not iron, bronze, copper, silver, or gold. They match none of those materials in texture, color, or weight. They do not corrode. Every other material in the chamber shows the expected signs of age. Stone, mortar, the decomposed organic debris in the surrounding niches, all of it centuries old. The containers show nothing. No surface oxidation. No discoloration. Nothing. The survey team spent 6 days attempting to identify the material with every analytical method available in 1903. They could not categorize it. They then turned to the container's construction. No visible seam, no fastener, no lid, no opening. The containers appear to be continuous objects formed whole, enclosed, with whatever is inside them sealed in a way that leaves no evidence of how entry or sealing was accomplished. The team could not determine what the contents were because they could not find a way in. Pius X was informed of the survey findings. The subcrypt was sealed again in 1904 and declared off-limits to all further archaeological work. The official reason: preservation of the chapel's structural integrity. No analysis of the containers has been published. No subsequent team has been granted access. A Vatican
This is what makes me so mad. It's like, why is everything so top secret? It's more top secret than the goddamn US government's top secret files. It's top secret on like a global level. Because the Vatican, if you didn't know, the Vatican is their own country. They're not they're not governed by anybody, dude. Vatican City is its own country. Am I saying it wrong? Is it not its own country? It's something else? But much like London City, if you don't know about London City, it's in the middle of London, but it's not a part of London. It's its own little fucking thing. Yeah, just like Washington D.C. Oh no, I'm starting to draw connections where I should not be talking about. Because Washington D.C. is not a part of this country. Wow. I'm starting to draw some connections here.
Archaeological Commission report from 1968, released as part of a partial catalog of historical surveys, references the 1903 Sancta Sanctorum survey in a single footnote. Subcrypt examination discontinued. Materials in situ. Materials in situ. 1968. 65 years after the original survey, the containers were still in the niches where the 1903 team found them. Unchanged, uncorrupted, presumably still dry. The Sancta Sanctorum is celebrated for an icon painted by no human hand. What is in the crypt beneath it was made by no manufacturing method the Vatican's 1903 archaeologists could name, sealed by no mechanism they could identify, from a material that has not corroded in
Whoa, what was that? Was that my own?
Sealed by no mechanism they could identify, from a material that
Okay.
has not corroded in conditions that destroy every other material around it. The chapel above preserves the impossible as sacred. What is below it preserves the impossible as sealed. What is the container with no entry point keeping inside it? What material does not corrode? What mechanism preserves dry air in a subterranean chamber in Rome across centuries of sealing? And who placed them there before the chapel above them was built? Number 7. The Ethiopian Scriptorium.
Also, I was thinking, like, that drawing, I shouldn't take it seriously, but flooring above basements and shit back then, like support beam, like you gotta have like beams like of wood. I don't know. I just started thinking about modern day construction. I'm like, how is that possible? How did these stone floors not cave in castles? Like, what kind of structure do we have?
The year is 1937. You're a cataloger at the Vatican Apostolic Library, and 3 wooden crates have just arrived from Addis Ababa via Italian diplomatic channels. The shipping manifest describes the contents as
Oh shit! Now here we go. Ethiopians are getting involved here with the Vatican, dude. I'm just gonna say it like this is. Oh, you know what they did over the years.
religious manuscripts, Ethiopian origin, acquisition per Vatican diplomatic agreement. Mussolini's Ethiopian campaign has been underway for 2 years. The Italian occupation has disrupted the country's ancient monastery networks, many of them operating continuously since the 4th century. These crates, your supervisor tells you, came from Lalibela. Lalibela is one of the oldest monastic sites in the world. Its churches are cut directly.
What is monastic? I don't. I've heard that term. Monastic. The fuck does that mean, dude? Okay, monastic means relating to the mind, intellect, or manas in Indian philosophy. Okay, got it. Got it.
Directly from living rock, hewn downward into the earth rather than built upward from it. The manuscripts produced and stored there span more than 1,000 years of Ethiopian Christianity, and before that, traditions that predate Christianity in the region by an unknown period. You begin unpacking the crates, expecting medieval liturgical texts in Ge'ez, the classical Ethiopian liturgical language. You unroll the first manuscript, and the script is Ge'ez. But the language beneath the script is doing something Ge'ez was not designed to do. You don't have the expertise to describe what you're seeing. You keep unpacking. You set what you find aside for someone qualified. Father Aurelio Marchetti is called in to examine the manuscripts in December 1930.
Of course, Father Aurelio Marchetti. Is he Italian or is he Greek? Aurelio tells me he's Greek.
He is the library's senior expert in Semitic scripts, with decades of experience in ancient Ethiopian texts. He is given the reading room and the crates, and 3 days alone with them. On the 4th day, he asks to speak with the prefect of the library. That conversation is not in the record. What is in the record, in a memo from the prefect to the Vatican Secretary of State, dated December 19, 1937, is the following. Father Marchetti has examined the Lalibela acquisition and advises that certain documents in the collection require immediate restriction from general research. The prefect concurs. Transfer to restricted holding recommended at earliest convenience. The manuscripts were moved to a restricted room the same week. The room has no assigned catalog number in the library's published holdings. Father Marchetti submitted no formal report on his findings. He was transferred to a teaching post in Bologna in February 1938 and did not return to the Vatican Library. He died in Bologna in 1961. Here's where it gets strange. Among Marchetti's personal papers when his rooms were cleared was a letter addressed to his brother, never sent, never mailed. That letter was discovered in a family archive and has been examined by 2 researchers. Both have declined to publish it in full, citing an agreement with the family. A German historian of religion, writing in a 2003 academic volume on suppressed theological documents, quoted one line from it. What the texts describe as existing before the first day is not allegorical. The measurements given are precise. The entities described are not angels. Not allegorical. The measurements given are precise. The entities described are not angels. Marchetti was a trained Semitic scholar with 40 years of experience in ancient texts. He was not inclined to dramatic language. He wrote this sentence in a letter to his brother, a person with no expertise to evaluate it, no platform to publish it, no reason to receive it, since the letter was never sent. He wrote it anyway, alone, for himself. It describes manuscripts from a monastic tradition older than most of Western Christianity, describing entities that Marchetti, with all his training, could not categorize as angelic, with measurements, physical dimensions, presumably precise enough that he felt the word precise necessary. The manuscripts have not been examined by any outside researcher since December 1937. A formal access request submitted in 2011 by a team of Ethiopian scholars requesting any Ethiopian origin manuscripts acquired between 1935 and 1945 received a response, confirming the library holds such materials. Those materials are classified as restricted, pending review. Pending review since 1937 is 88 years of review. What did monks in Lalibela preserve in manuscripts that required a Vatican scholar to be removed from his position within 3 months of reading them? What does it mean for an ancient text to describe entities with precision in their physical measurements? What tradition, cut into living rock in Ethiopia, had knowledge of what existed before the biblical beginning specific enough to measure? And what does it mean that the man who read those measurements spent the rest of his life not saying them out loud? Number 8. The Audience Hall Foundation Chamber. The year is 1971. You're a construction supervisor overseeing excavation for the Paul VI Audience Hall, the new permanent assembly space for papal general audiences being built on the southwestern edge of Vatican City. The architect is Pierluigi Nervi, one of the most celebrated structural engineers of the 20th century. The building will seat 6,000 people under a dramatic parabolic roof. It requires deep foundations cut into the slope of the Vatican Hill. In the third week of excavation, in the southwestern corner of the dig, a drill breaks through into a void. The void is not a natural formation. The drill operator stops.
The Vatican seems to be surrounded with mysteries. Holy shit. Good afternoon, biscuits. Happy to have you around. Like, we're watching this video here on the 10, it's the 10 mysterious, the 10 forbidden rooms of the Vatican. And then we're going to get in some games. We're doing a new thing I've wanted to do for a while. It's kind of a lot of like a doom and gloom. But here we're getting into conspiracies. You know. We're getting a little creative here. I'm trying to change things up, man. Keep them fresh.
Your crew lowers a light. The walls of the space below are cut stone. Finished stone. Someone built this room. You report it to the Vatican Grotto's authority. 2 officials arrive within the hour.
I'm doing this. I saw this video today, and I've always been fascinated with why the Vatican is so fucking secretive of all this shit. So I saw this video this morning that popped up on my feed, and I just had to play it.
Descend into the chamber. They are inside for approximately 20 minutes. When they come back up, work is halted for the rest of the day. The following morning, a Vatican administrative officer arrives and informs you that the chamber has been assessed, that excavation should proceed, and that the relevant section of the foundation plan has been revised to route the concrete around the discovered space rather than through it.
Of course.
The chamber will be enclosed within the structure, left in place. You never went down yourself, but one of your crew did before the officials arrived. He described what he saw to you and 2 other workers that evening. His account was not recorded officially. He said the room contained a central object, freestanding, roughly chest height, geometric in shape. He said when he stepped into the room, the object changed, not dramatically. The surface shifted.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I mean, are these things real? I mean, not the beings, but the stories. I mean, it's so fucking wild. But I believe it. I believe that the Vatican is hiding super duper mega ultra secrets, as DSP might put it.
In a way he couldn't account for. It was, he said, as if something in it recognized that someone had entered. Here's where it gets strange. The Pontifical Commission for Sacred Archaeology has no...
Sorry. Yeah, Biscuits, go back and watch it a little bit. I'll go back and I'll put the links in the description for the actual videos, and you can go watch them yourself. I have the channel listed there, but it's yeah, you can't click it obviously. But yeah, I'll put them in the description after I'm done here today. I'll do it for the first time ever. But it's fascinating, dude.
Record of the discovery in its published records for the 1971 construction period. The Vatican Grotto's authorities' maintenance documentation for the Paul VI Audience Hall substructure designates a sealed chamber in the southwestern corner as a utility void. A utility void requires no contents description. It is simply a space that was incorporated rather than filled. The foundation plans archived in Nervi's studio in Rome, part of the Nervi archive now held by his family, show an irregular adjustment to the southwestern corner foundation, a change made during construction, not present in the original design, routing the concrete around rather than through a specific area of the dig. The Paul VI Audience Hall was completed in 1971. Its most distinctive feature, beyond the parabolic roof, is the stage sculpture, a massive bronze work by Pericle Fazzini titled The Resurrection, depicting Christ emerging from the blast cloud of a nuclear explosion, surrounded by figures rising from the earth. Fazzini worked on the commission between 1965 and 1977. In a 1985 interview with an Italian arts journal, he described the design's inspiration as coming partly from a visit to the construction site before the hall was complete. He described seeing something in the foundation excavation that he declined to name specifically, saying only that it gave him a precise image of emergence of something dormant becoming present. Fazzini did not elaborate. The interviewer did not press. Whatever is in the sealed chamber in the southwestern corner of the hall's foundation was enclosed in concrete in 1971 and has not been officially entered since. The Paul VI Audience Hall receives approximately 1.2 million visitors per year. The Pope holds his general audiences there weekly when in residence. Directly beneath the stage where he sits, in a sealed utility void in the foundation of one of the most visited rooms in Vatican City, an object sits that a construction worker said appeared to notice him. Fazzini spent 12 years designing a monumental image of emergence of something waking from the stone, rising into light. The thing in the foundation was already there when he arrived. What object recognizes that a person has entered the room? What surface changes in response to human presence with no mechanism the observer could identify? What did Pericle Fazzini see during a site visit that gave him, precisely and specifically, the image of something dormant?
It had to have been extraterrestrials, right? I mean, is it otherworldly? Is it biblical? Is it godly? Like, what the fuck is it, man? I think the whole extraterrestrial thing and the Nephilim and the gods and all this biblical shit that might be in our world, I think it's all intertwined. I really do.
Becoming present. The resurrection sculpture faces the audience from the stage. Whatever it was inspired by is directly beneath it. Sealed, in the dark, in the same building. Number 9. The Papal Bunker Room B. The year is 1943. You're a Vatican security official in June of that year, and Rome is under German military occupation. The Vatican has maintained formal neutrality, but the reality of German forces in the streets around it has changed the calculus for everything inside the walls. Emergency planning is being implemented. An existing network of underground passages beneath the Apostolic Palace is being reinforced and extended to serve as a wartime shelter for Vatican personnel and key holdings.
Nothing suspicious about that, right?
A construction crew working on the extension breaks through a wall during excavation and enters a space that is not on any blueprint of the subsurface structure. The foreman sends a worker to notify the site supervisor. The site supervisor goes to see it himself. He does not file a written report. He goes directly to Cardinal Luigi Maglione, the Vatican Secretary of State, in person. What he said to Maglione is not in any document that has been made available. What happened next is documented. Within 2 hours of the notification, German construction personnel in the area were halted and redirected. Vatican personnel entered the discovered chamber with the work crew excluded. An interior wall was installed separating the chamber from the adjoining shelter passages.
Wow.
In the shelter's engineering notes, The discovered chamber received a designation, Room B. It appears in subsequent shelter maps as a utility space. Here's where it gets strange. Aldo Rinaldi was a Vatican construction worker who kept a personal journal through.
Here's the thing: you gotta take this with a grain of salt, though, because in normal cities like we live in, you need blueprints, you need to update shit, you need permits, all that shit. But the Vatican doesn't have to do anything. They don't. They're their own fucking country.
About his work on the bunker extension in 1943. The journal was donated by his family to a Roman cultural heritage organization in 1998 and transcribed by a researcher in 2002. The relevant entry, from the week of the discovery, describes what Rinaldi saw in the moment before Vatican personnel excluded the crew from the chamber. He writes that the room was not empty. Large cases, stacked along one wall.
It looks like a Pokemon. That drawing, that looks like it could be a Pokemon card the DSP would pull. Oh, come on.
On the floor at the center of the room, a device. He describes it as appearing like a large clock, but with no hands. It was making a sound, a quiet sound, like something turning. No visible power source. 1943. In a sealed underground chamber of unknown age beneath the Vatican, making a sound like something turning. The device Rinaldi described does not appear on any inventory in the Vatican's wartime administrative records, which were substantially documented for the post-war Historical Commission. The room's contents were never catalogued. Room B appears in the 1943 shelter engineering notes as utility storage. Allied intelligence requested access to portions of the Vatican's wartime shelter network for security assessment purposes in 1945. The Vatican declined on the basis of sovereignty. The request was renewed twice and declined twice. Room B is not referenced in any Allied document as a specific point of interest. The Vatican governorate's maintenance records for the underground shelter network show periodic structural checks of all sections from 1945 to the present. The entries for Room B carry the same notation across 8 consecutive decades: stable, interior contents per original classification, access restricted, interior contents per original classification. In every maintenance check since 1945, the large cases along the wall, the device at the center, whatever was turning, all of it still there, confirmed present, access restricted, classified as it was originally classified in 1943. 8 decades of consistent notation from an institution whose administrative records are otherwise meticulously specific. Room B, utility storage, stable, restricted. No further description.
So it's interesting, like room 0. What was it? Room 0? God damn, I can't even remember now. It supposedly had nothing in it, which was ended up being supposedly 3 balls floating, just kind of have a mind of their own. And then now we got Room B, utility storage.
No contents list. No change. It has been turning
No contents.
for 82 years in the dark. What produces a mechanical sound in a sealed underground chamber with no power source? How old is the chamber old enough to predate the blueprints of the underground passage network built above it?
This is so weird. I realized that the illustrations make it a little more crazy to the mind, but it's not far off. It's not far off when you think about it.
Which puts its construction before any documented Vatican subsurface construction. Who placed large cases in that chamber and a device that turns without visible power at its center? What were the cases storing, and what was the device counting, or recording, or measuring, or doing quietly, in the dark, in a language of
It's measuring time. I'll get it. It's a clock. Okay, sorry.
turning in the years before a wartime construction crew accidentally broke through the wall above it, and the years since they sealed it back up? Number 10. The Casina Pio, the fourth vault.
Here we go.
The year is 1936. You're a restoration worker inside the Casina Pio IV, a small Renaissance villa.
How do I do this? I don't know what the command is. Why can't we go faster?
Pio IV, a small Renaissance villa in the Vatican Gardens. 82 years in the dark. What produces a mechanical sound in a sealed underground chamber with no power source? How old is the chamber old enough to predate the blueprints of the underground passage network built above it, which puts its construction before any documented Vatican subsurface construction? Who placed large cases in that chamber and a device that turns without visible power at its center? What were the cases storing, and what was the device counting, or recording, or measuring, or doing quietly, in the dark, in a language of turning in the years before a wartime construction crew accidentally broke through the wall above it, and the years since they sealed it back up? Number 10. The Casina Pio, the fourth vault. The year is 1936. You're a restoration worker inside the Casina Pio IV, a small Renaissance villa in the Vatican.
Look at him just hacking through the floor.
Gardens, commissioned by Pope John Pius IV in 1558 and designed by Piero Ligorio on the foundations of an ancient Roman structure. It is one of the most beautiful buildings in Vatican City, white stucco reliefs, an oval courtyard, a loggia overlooking the gardens. Pope Pius XI has just reorganized the Pontifical Academy of Sciences and designated the Casina as its permanent home. Before the Academy can move in, the building requires structural restoration. In the third week of work, your team removes a section of damaged flooring in the lower hall and breaks through into a void below the foundation level. The foundation is Roman era, substantially older than the Renaissance building above it. The void beneath it is older still. The chamber below is low-ceilinged and roughly circular. The walls are finished stone. Along the walls are shelves cut directly into the rock. On the shelves are containers ceramic, sealed with a resinous material that is hardened over an unspecified period of time into something approaching stone, arranged in rows, more than 30 of them. Several containers have partially failed seals. The contents are partially visible through the cracks. Inside those containers are biological specimens in a state of preservation considerably better than the apparent age of the chamber should allow. Here's where it gets strange. The Vatican's restoration documentation for the Casina Pio IV project contains a 2-page break in the daily maintenance record covering the 3 days immediately following the discovery. The records resume as if the gap didn't occur. An administrative notation dated 4 days after the discovery reads, "Subfloor void assessed, structural reinforcement to proceed, contents secured per prefect's instruction." Contents secured per prefect's instruction. No description of the contents. No transfer record to any Vatican institution. No catalog number assigned. Secured. The restoration supervisor's private letters correspondence with his wife, recovered from a family estate in the 1990s and partially published in an Italian architectural history volume in 2001, describe what he saw through the cracked container seals. He writes with the careful language of a man trying to reconcile observation with category. He describes skeletal elements visible inside the containers.
Oh!
He describes the proportions of those elements as not corresponding to any animal species he could identify. He describes, specifically, the cranial structure visible in one container.
What the fuck?
He writes, "It is not a human skull and it is not an animal skull, and I have no third category. No third category."
No third category. So, no human, no animal. So, your third category would be alien, right?
Pontifical Academy of Sciences moved into the Casina Pio IV in 1936, the same year the chamber was sealed. The Academy advises the Pope on scientific matters and has, across 9 decades, addressed questions including nuclear physics, cosmology, and the origins of life. Its membership over the years has included some of the most rigorous scientific minds of the 20th century. They hold their conferences in the Oval Courtyard. They meet in the loggia above the Vatican Gardens. They have worked in this building for nearly 90 years, studying the boundaries of what science knows. Directly beneath their meeting rooms is a sealed chamber containing biological specimens whose skull structure a trained professional described as occupying no known classification. The Academy studies the natural world from this building. They were apparently never told what was in the floor below them. A 2009 Vatican administrative circular reorganizing maintenance responsibilities for buildings in the Vatican gardens lists the Casina Pio, the fourth, and notes, sub-foundation void, sealed, contents per 1936 classification, no access. Contents per 1936 classification, 89 years later. Still there, still classified, still in no third category. What biological specimens survive in ceramic containers for an unknown number of centuries in a sealed Roman-era chamber beneath a Renaissance villa in the Vatican gardens? What cranial structure has no human classification and no animal classification in the working vocabulary of a trained restoration professional? Who arranged more than 30 sealed containers on rock-cut shelves beneath what would eventually become the permanent home of the body that advises the Vatican on science? The Pontifical Academy of Sciences has met above that sealed chamber for 9 decades. Its members study the origins of life. Something with a skull that fits no known category of life is directly beneath their chairs. Neither they nor the science they practice has ever been permitted to look at it. 10 rooms in one institution, 3 spheres that float and move and sound in a room the Vatican has documented as empty every year since 1611. A room whose address was erased from a catalog built on addresses. A chamber below a saint's tomb whose markings were not made by human hands. An inner vault below the calendar's own instruments. A sealed room warmed by objects covered in an unidentifiable script. Containers with no seam and no entry point made of material that does not corrode. Manuscripts describing entities with precise physical measurements that are not angels. An object in a sealed foundation chamber beneath the Pope's own audience hall that appeared to recognize when someone entered the room. A device that turns with no power source, confirmed present in every maintenance check for 82 years. Biological specimens beneath the Pontifical Academy of Sciences in a skull structure that fits no human and no animal classification. 17 centuries, 1 institution, 10 rooms that have not been opened. What an institution keeps locked tells you everything it believes you are not ready to know. Subscribe. Leave a comment about which of these rooms you would open first, and tell us where you're watching from. Okay, let's start. Number 1. The Vatican Library.
Why did it restart? That was annoying. I tried to pause it and it restarted. Okay. Well, that's a very interesting I think the Vatican is hiding a lot of fucking things, so I couldn't help. When I saw that video this morning, I had to watch it. It popped up on my feed after I woke up. Fucking 10 forbidden rooms of the Vatican. Like, of course I'm gonna watch that shit. You got the Knights Templar, you got the Vatican, doing whatever they do with I don't want to say it. I'm not monetized, so I'm not afraid of losing it. But they're fucking around with children, like the Catholic Church. The fuck. So, and the Vatican is technically they're basically their own country. So that's really fucked up. But you got all these mystery rooms, these unforbidden rooms, and I've heard that their library alone. All I really ever heard about was their library. And it's just, they've got all of these ancient texts. I feel like they've just crusaded throughout the world. We know about the Crusades, right? And they've just been stealing shit and archiving shit. It's almost like what we have some people doing in the digital age. I don't know. A little fucking weird, dude. But I saw that video and I had to play it. And then we had the AI stuff, the the AI apocalypse. We're on the verge of it. Like, every day there's a new video, like 12 months, 12 months, 12 months. Warning, warning, warning. But it's coming. Like, I think, 2027 might be the year. It might be right on the cusp. Because shit's fucked up, but like I discussed, I don't think it's gonna be, they're just gonna wipe us out. I think we're gonna be slaves. They're gonna replicate themselves, yada, yada, yada. We're already teaching AI to replicate itself. That's where we're fucked. And then we've taught AI to calculate millions and millions and millions and millions of calculations. And of course, it's going to do all the fucking calculations it can. No, don't kill us. Keep us alive. Enslave us. That's what's going to happen. I'm telling you. I saw it years ago, and I didn't think of it as AI enslaving us years ago, but I saw it, man. I've been trying to tell people my whole life. Like, I've been trying to warn them about certain things, like not just AI or the robot takeover, just various shit throughout my life. I see things, and I tell them, and they don't listen. So, I don't know. That'll be the end of the recording. And we'll keep the stream going. Now we'll shift gears into something happy. Imagine that. No, where's my oh, don't tell me it's another situation where I can't do the, come on, man. At least we have our OBS virtual. That shit disappeared, so that's a good sign. So that means we can reconnect to this. I think some of that might have been an OBS issue. Alright, now we're gonna get in some games, guys. I've been trying to do a good job at starting and stopping recordings. Yeah, we had our whole conspiracy. Damn, that was like, what, 2 hours? Pretty good. Like a half hour of it was a little fucked up because I had the audio messed up, but I guess we had like an hour and a half. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I need to take a piss and smoke a cigarette. We'll listen to some music.
Woke up this morning, no fog in my head, sun on my face, got my feet out of bed, no chains on my soul, no poison in my veins, just the fire of a fighter who's breaking these chains. Yesterday's storms don't own me no more. I'm walking taller than I ever walked before. Clear skies, wide eyes, breathing in the light. I'm alive, I'm awake, and it feels so right now. I can't touch this peace I found. Sober and strong, feet on solid ground. Yeah, got my feet out of bed. No chains on my soul, no poison in my veins. Just the fire of a fighter who's breaking these chains. Yesterday's storms don't own me no more. I'm walking taller than I ever walked before. Clear skies, wide eyes, breathing in the light. I'm alive, I'm awake, and it feels so right. No high can touch this peace I found. Sober and strong, feet on solid ground. Yeah, I'm free, finally free. Finally free. Friends said I'd miss it, but I'm laughing instead. Trading chaos for color, trading lost for ahead. Every sunrise a victory, every breath the wind. Rebuilding my story from the inside again. One day, one choice, one heart that won't break. I chose me today, and that choice don't shake. Clear skies, bright eyes, heart beating loud. I'm shouting it out. I'm part of the crowd. This life is mine, every minute, every hour. Sober and shining with unlimited power.
The sun sets, the birds get quiet. The sky is on fire. The animals come out. It's the creatures of the night. It's the creatures of the night. It's the creature of the night. And I can't stop thinking about all the creatures of the night. And I can't stop thinking about all the creatures of the night. The sun sets, the birds get quiet. The sky is on fire. The animals come out. It's the creatures of the night. It's the creatures of the night. It's the creatures of the night. It's the creatures of the night.
Fan. Gonna be blowing in the mic. All right. I feel like DSP. Okay. 100 times. I think the music level's good. I think I need to turn it down a little bit. I'm also hearing goddamn Elden Ring in my head. All right, here we go.
It's the creatures of the light. It's the creature of the night. It's the creature of the night. And I can't stop thinking about.
All right. So let's start the recording. And we start the recording. Okay. So I took a little bit of time off from. Where am I? Okay. Oh, God damn it. I'm logged in as the astrologer. I forget what he's called. Hemlock. He's Hemlock, the astrologer. Yeah. I want to keep going with. The samurai. Rake. Okay. Good lord. All right. I don't even know what helmet I have on right now. I don't know if it's better or worse. I think it's better, but I haven't been to this one. I want to explore a little more of this area. But wait, okay, yeah, because over here. I never found. Okay, you know what? Let's go. There's a. Uh, Ah, I need my phone. I need to look at the map. The map app. I know there's a fucking site of grace. I wanted to call it a bonfire, but I didn't want to be DSP. What is this place? No, it's way up north, I think. Right? Yeah, there's one there. There's one all the way down by the thing, by the bridge. God damn it. Alright. We gotta go all the way down there. Yep, there's one right there. The noise I'm hearing is fucking terrifying. Uh-huh. Oh, no way. I found it. God damn. Woo. All right. Is it? Oh, yeah. Right off to the side. And then there's an effigy. And who's on this bridge? Whoa. There's a dragon on this bridge. There's a dragon. Okay. Well, at least I made it up here. There's a lot of weapons to be had. And I think there was a lot of like little goblin types. Like they were small. There's a lot of weapons to be had though. Like these are cool weapons. At least I made it here. Ah, what is that? See, there's like a bunch of little like goblin guys. Dude, they are difficult. This is fucked up, dude. You know what? I'm feeling weird. I already unlocked that, so let's. Oh, there's the dragon. That's why it looked weird. What the fuck? Oh, wow. I'm dead. One shot. All right. Well, we're not going here again. We're going to go back. Here's what I want to do because I want to face this dragon here. Oh, we got stranded graveyard. Okay. We're not going there. I hear we can go back and do it. Like after tutorial shit. I don't want to go Seaside Ruins. I think I want to go this way. Might as well go to the church. Yeah, this is... Nope, not that way. I've got the katana, the unsheath. Why do I have to deal with these goddamn... Fuck! Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. It's not happening. I'm too stupid at this point. There's no way this is happening. God damn, dude. I might as well just go back to Skyrim. Holy shit. Beat a dragon. Alright. Where else can we go? You know, there's other dungeons we need to do. Coastal Cave can wait. I need to wait until I beat the dragon for the Coastal Cave. I mean, I can do some other shit for the Coastal Cave, but no. No. I can do the castle. The castle wasn't too bad. Like, someone said the castle was gonna kick my ass. I went through it a little bit. It was decent. There's another boss I'm thinking of, though. Well, and there's Stormfoot Catacombs. I know that's a fun little boss, but getting to it is a motherfucker and all those little goblins. Groveside Cave. Not sure what it is there. I know Limgrave Tunnels has like smithing stones. You can farm that. God, I'm so scared of this game, dude. I'm a pussy. I really want like the weapons these guys have out here though. It looks like they have some really fucking awesome weapons. I mean, I got one-shotted by a dragon. Like that was heavy duty. I could probably handle the other guys. Uh, Game is just so frustrating. I don't know. I mean, what else do I have here? Oop, don't do that. Don't do it illegally and get banned like DSP did. You know, not good. I do want to start like another one though. I want to do, what is it, the warrior? It's dual wielding right off the bat. But there's a DLC coming out in like fucking 18 days. Something like that. It's going to be on August 23rd or 28th. But everybody's calling for a boycott of PlayStation on the 28th for a week. And I think I'm actually going to join in on that shit. Because I absolutely agree with that shit. Like, you know, taking away. I don't know. It has to do, obviously, with like the game licensing and shit like that. But there's more to it, obviously. But I totally agree. I think the companies, the corporations are fucking out of control. I felt like that for a very long time. So, you know. Yeah, how you like that? It says 0%. Mm-hmm. Yep. I do want to try Dark Souls though. I tried it before. Never really gave it a good start. I gave Dark Souls 2 a better start, and that was even more difficult. Back is fucking killing me. Wrong button. Got the back rooms. Been meaning to do that. Mountain Blade and Chivalry, of course. I want to do more Chivalry. Really fun. Like a medieval Call of Duty. I really enjoy it. I forget how to play now. Actually, like I was thinking about dueling and I forget. We're gonna have to. Yeah, let's do that. Damn, but it doesn't let you. I don't want to play the tutorial. I don't want to play the tutorial. Bullshit. I'm gonna goddamn. What? Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, oh yeah. No, I can't. I can't read instructions. Oh, come on. Give me someone to fight. Yeah, I can see. Uh-huh. Square to pick up. That's overhead? No. Oh, I gotta do overhead on this one. Oh, wait. R2, L1, R1. Eh. Uh-huh. How did I not do it right? Dude, I did it right. Okay. Maybe after. The fuck? Oh, right stick, not left. Stupid. See? Yeah, see, now I'm just. You taught me to swing for the fucking decapitation. Yeah, die. Please. There's blood everywhere. How is he not dead? Oh, I was supposed to do another one. God damn it. I remember this one. The fuck? I hated this one. No. Ah. I hated that. Oh, well, maybe I'm supposed to do this one first. I don't know. The fuck? Ah, stupid. See, this is where it's. Oh! It is the left strike. So. Oh, that's weird, dude. That is weird. What, now I gotta kill you? What the fuck? What? What the fuck? What? What the fuck? I can't beat him. Stupid. Just let me out of this fucking tutorial, dude. Seriously. How do I quit? Dude. The fuck? Dude, I don't get it. I got him, but I give up, dude. Dude, I was good at this when I played, but the tutorial is, oh god, the tutorial is bad. We'll go back into it, but I don't know. I think I want to fire up the Switch. We want to do our retro. I don't know. Undisputed is good. I think it's raining. Nice. Nice. Raining. Wow. We gotta get going on Drug Dealer Simulator 2 again, but I mean, come on. Kinda lost steam with it, really. You know, we do. This isn't a hard game, so we should just continue. Fry engine? Really? Well, I guess we're not doing this. Not for a minute. Oops. My bad. Gotta update, huh? We may actually just switch over to Mario. I really want to just chill with Mario. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and switch this over. I want to keep the retro shit going. Guess I'll stop recording and then start again. Off. where is it? Right here. Plug her in, plug her in. This way or that way? That way. Alright. Oh yeah, but we might as well plug that in there. We can observe. Oh, we can't. Alright. Well, that's good. Let's grab a remote. I don't know how the charging works on these Switch remotes here. This particular third party piece of shit. It's not the greatest remote, I don't think. I might be looking into a better one. Oh my god. Well, it works, but my TV ain't turning on. There we go. Okay, sorry, testing everything out. Alright. Let's go old school Mario. I was liking Mario 2 with the picking up the turnips and all that, and the fluttery feet of Luigi. Alright, hold on. Start recording. You know, I was liking the fluttery feet of Luigi and the picking up the turnips and tossing them, but I had some issues with the little short guy. I forget his name, the little mushroom head fella. Let's just go with Mario 1. I wanted to try 3, but oh, we have no sound. All right. Go figure. Go figure. I'm not even going to worry about getting all of them. I'm done with that. Almost hit the wrong button. Okay. Yeah. That was a decent run. Only 11 coins though. That sucked. Could have got a lot more. Alright. We got a firepower. Bummer. Ooh, lucky. Why did I do that? That was so dumb. And I hit the wrong button. Yes. I suck. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Oh, what? Suck a dick. Suck a dick. God damn it. Oh, bullshit. Bullshit. I tried. I tried. Gay. I mean, think Dark Souls, right? Fucking brutal. Oh, 1985? I didn't realize it was that. 2 years before I was born. Interesting. I thought it was 88. Wow. 1985, huh? Pretty wild. Okay. Alright. God damn it. That thing's falling all over the place. Soda bottles. God damn it. It's bullshit. Fuck. All right. I think we're back. Quick smoke break. Play some more Mario. I don't know if we can handle more of this shit. It's frustrating. We can do the classics. Oh yeah, last one we played was Pokemon. We're not doing that again. A lot of Kirby. Oh, what about Super Mario Land 1? I don't think I ever played this. Not sure. Whoa. Oh, 2 was way better. Oh. Oh. Oh, I can't get it. Darn. Oh! Oh, this one kind of sucks. Now there's something there. Ah, damn it. Ah! Oh! Dude, it only gives you 3. Okay. I gotta tell you though, this one sucks. How do we... That's right. Tells you on the bottom. Oh, 92. That makes more sense. The other one was what, 89? 85, then what, 89? Yeah, this one was the shit. This was my favorite. Why does it say O2 for... Oh, maybe this is why I liked it so much. It was like a lot like Hollow Knight. Ah! I remember hitting those for hours as a kid. Ah! I forget what the carrot is for. Oh, wings. Ah. I jumped right into it. Stupid fuck. I can't figure out how I got him to spin. That was weird. Because I know Game Boy was only 2 buttons, right? Right? I'm turning into DSP. No, it was only 2 buttons. Bullshit. Yeah, you can tell I'm pissed now, right? Like, how am I losing at Mario? Ah, this one. Every time. It's gonna drive me nuts. Nope. Can't seem to do it. Bullshit. Oh, these new mechanics. Fucking... My God. I can't. I really fucking can't. Pissing me off. Can I do... What else we got? I don't know, man. We had a good time with the what did I call it? Something fear of the day, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna reassess this. I'm gonna start it again. Afternoon stream. Take a little break, get some food, and then we'll see where we go from here.